It's finally time to put together a song sparrow for a local Audubon center. Before pulling the specimen, I made sure to pull the actual body and the tracing so I could wrap a form for the mount. Since the bird is tiny, I wanted to wait until the last minute to pull it. For tiny birds, I like carving bodies since I can get very precise structures. However, I do prefer using wood wool when I can, since it is a natural material that will last for a very long time. I've restored mounts from the 1800s that are still in fantastic shape because they were made from wood wool, so I know I can trust it as a material. Also, I can dip the finished form into water, which will help keep the skin wet while I'm putting the bird together. Keeping the skin wet during the mounting process will extend the time I have for posing and preening. Small birds dry out rather quickly, so the combination of keeping the skin hydrated and also mounting as quickly and precisely as possible will help ensure that I am doing the best possible job I can for the sparrow. If you didn't know, the term taxidermy means to taxi the dermis, which means arrangement of the skin. The only way you can move the skin and pose the specimen is if you keep the specimen hydrated during the mounting, posing, and preening process. Once the skin dries, trying to move the skin, aka groom and pose, that's going to break the specimen, so it's really vital that I keep the skin hydrated. Something I also have to think about when putting together a mount is what this taxidermy piece is for. In this case, this sparrow will be a part of a huge educational collection that travels all across Los Angeles County to educate the public about the conservation of birds. I prefer using the smallest wires possible when working on tiny birds, since they give me flexibility and ease when posing, but since this bird will travel, I opted for the largest wires I could fit inside the limbs and for the neck, since I need this mount to be incredibly durable. Additionally, this guy will be enclosed in a custom acrylic case with UV protection. This will help keep away dust, bugs, and keep the colors vibrant. Taxidermy is meant to be a representation of the species, which is why it is so important that collections are cared for, updated, and accurate. New taxidermy mounts can be pricey, but a little TLC will go a long way to keep these dead collections alive. I always recommend chatting with your local taxidermist to see what they recommend to make sure that your collection is well cared for and stays that way past this generation. I, for one, am always very excited and honored to be able to preserve these amazing specimens for future generations to enjoy. I always try to take the extra time to plan out how I can best approach each mount to make sure that it outlasts my time on this earth. I have restored way too many old mounts that had me cursing dead taxidermists who were cutting corners, so I try my best to make sure I'm not the one getting cursed in 100 years. I made a mess on my workbench, but that's definitely tomorrow's problem. Now that I have finished mounting this sparrow, I'll watch it dry and make tiny adjustments over the next few days. I can't wait for the cases to get finished and so that I can share that process with you all.